explain about Coastal Inns of Distinction?
Okay, that's my wife. Coastal Inns of Distinction was a group of inns that we started in California. We started in Capitola and took an old railroad depot and converted it into a high-end bed and breakfast. And it had extremely unique rooms. Every room was done with a different decor, very high-end, and a very high-quality service. We were the only mobile four-star AAA four-diamond inn in the San Francisco Bay Area. And this was a time when the dot-com boom was happening, so there was a lot of money in Silicon Valley. They'd come over and stay on the ocean. And the fact that we had super high-quality product with great service, we had an unbelievable reputation. We were able to charge very high room rates. Our average room rate was like $225 a night back when a regular hotel or motel was down at 60. Our occupancy was like 85%. And once we got that going, we bought another property in Half Moon Bay that was right on the ocean. And we renovated that, fixed it up to high-end rooms. And a lot of people came over from the valley, wanted to stay right on the ocean. The first inn wasn't right on the ocean. It was 4 blocks away from the ocean, above the village of Capitola. The second one, though, was right on the ocean. And the third one we got was in downtown Santa Cruz, and it serviced the university. And it was in a garden setting, a very beautiful setting, very unique. So everything we did was different, unique, with high quality, great service. And all of them had very high occupancy, very high room rates. And we ended up selling, we had 5 at one time. And we ended up selling them to a group out of Carmel who had inns from Carmel down to Santa Barbara. So that allowed them to go from Carmel back up almost to San Francisco. So it worked out extremely well. And we had one called California Administration Services, Inc., which was an insurance business. And workers' comp in California for police and firefighters is mostly covered by the state because anything that's heart-related, lung-related, lots of other issues, anything that's chemical-related, is all covered by a state plan. So there's not a lot of risk for police and firefighters because most of their needs are met by state insurance. Well, there was a company there called, I won't go into the name, but they're out of Oregon, and they wrote workers' comp that individuals could buy and municipalities could buy to cover their employees, and there were hardly any losses because the state covered any of the losses. In fact, police and firemen are, there's not anybody here who takes this personally, but usually if they get hurt in something else, like they're out on a weekend and sprain an ankle, break an ankle, they usually drag themselves into work, so it's counted as a workers' comp claim. And it's a little game they play, but it's pretty effective for them. But anyway, there's hardly any claims. So people who started California Administration Services looked at the losses, loss ratio versus what was being charged, and they figured out that they could set up self-insured trusts and cut the cost down to a third of what this insurance company was charging. So they set up a self-insured trust for police officers and one for firefighters, went to all the municipalities, the cities, the counties, said, look, we can save you X amount of dollars per month if you sign up with us. And they ended up, right now, they think they have 60,000 police and firefighters insured. Their model for making money is like the razor blade approach. They charge an administration fee of $3.50 a month per insured person, and the fee they charge is between $13 and $15 a person versus $50 that was charged before. So they just have this cash flow coming in every month with no problem at all. It's all collected by the municipalities. You just send them a big check every month. So it's a great niche business that nobody ever thought of before, and the whole company was funded with $30,000. Right now, they probably generate $1 million a month or more in free cash flow off of that. So it's a great model, and it's something you can find if you really look at how businesses are run these days and then try to find out how you can add something different to it to reduce costs or improve profitability of the business. It's just one of those unique things that most people would never think of. The problem is it's not too scalable because most states don't have the same workers' comp situation that California does. There's probably only 2 or 3 other states in the whole country that insure employees the way California does. So you can't just take and go to Nevada or Oregon or Washington or places like that. You have to find another state, and the states that they identified where they could expand into were too far away geographically for them to really manage the business. So they never expanded it outside of California. But they did develop another product, which is another one of these pedals. They started looking at long-term care and what companies charge for that. And then they looked at the everybody that they insured, and the average age was like 42 or something, 43. And they said, well, we're not going to have any losses till they're up into the 60s and 70s or 80s. So they put together a plan, and it showed that how much cash they would generate and how much they would bank before they started getting claims. And it ended up now, I think they have $40 million in that fund, and it's growing at a very good rate. Again, they charge a lot less than traditional insurance companies do, just because of the age of the people they serve. And it developed a couple of problems because the state insurance commissioner couldn't believe their numbers. And so they were doing a lot of fiduciary studies and everything to figure out what the risk really was. So they got into it without what I call a thorough evaluation, because they would have needed other numbers. But they were so successful that the state approved the plan ultimately. So super success story, but the second pedal was the long-term disability, and now they're looking at adding other ones if they can determine something else where they have a lot of financial leverage. Well, if you look at restaurants, I was talking to somebody about it earlier that, you know, there's that show about Chopped and the the diners, drive-in and dives. If you look at the businesses they look at, every one of them has specialty menus, specialty products. If you look in Hamilton through Missoula, you don't see anybody that has anything like that. So I think there's a real opportunity if somebody can develop the right menus and market it properly. I think there's a real restaurant opportunity, especially in Hamilton. So I think there are opportunities there. You just have to watch it, because I know a lot of people have gone into that business and then got out of it. And so you have to have something very special. And you got to watch the off season, because that's the big problem. Summers aren't bad, but when you get into winter, you got a problem. But one thing I've noticed around here is there's hardly any restaurants open on Monday nights, and a lot less open on Sunday nights. So if you want to go out to dinner on a Monday, there's not many places you can go. Victor Steakhouse is the only one I know of that's open on Monday. So you can carve out a niche in there, but it's very menu dependent and very cost control dependent. So.
We're going to break now for dinner. I'd like to remind you that there's going to be some cards here that if you have specific questions for the panel, please fill those cards out. We'll get all 3 panel members up there after this, and they'll start answering individual questions, and you'll get a collaborative, I think, response from them. So thank you very much.